Welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Today we are going to be in conversation with Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. He is a master mariner and a blue economy social activist. So we are going to be hearing about all the different paradigm shifts in all the different fields that he is working and is involved in. So just hang on 1 second till he joins us and then we're good to go. We had a little bit of a technical issue. We were not being able to see him. So we're going to just check whether this is going to be good. He's here.
Is it okay now? I just changed the location rather, just shifted the...
Absolutely. You're absolutely loud and clear and I can see you very clearly.
Okay, good.
So welcome to the Paradigm Shift. How do you feel being on the Paradigm Shift?
Yeah, absolutely great, Deepashika. I mean, I've been ardent watcher of your show. I mean, I believe you have finished 90 plus so far now, I think. And, I've watched a couple of them from the beginning to end because, they are really interesting. Topic number one. And I have, one of them was some about psychology and something was about the arts and all that, I believe, And I really have got hooked on to them watching. Rest everything I watched in bits and pieces while traveling here and there. But whenever you're live, I'm always there because I have a full commendation for you for this because you've been doing a really wonderful job on this and your questions are very pointed. The questions are very, the same questions I'm sure the viewers also would have if they're listening to someone. So you are really connected to the viewers and connected to their minds. So absolutely great. I feel very honored to be here today with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It is our honor to have you here. So let's get on to all the different fields. You're doing such great jobs in like so many different fields. So I'm so eager to learn about what you're doing. So let's get right into it. Yeah.
True. Go ahead. No issues.
Okay. So you've been a master mariner you've been a master for 7 years and you've been sailing for about 18 years. So can we hear about some of the fantastic sailing experiences? I mean, I have my own because I'm a wife of a marine engineer. So I'm sure you have some interesting stories to tell. So can you tell us some?
Oh, absolutely. I have good stories to tell because I joined shipping in 1989. And thereafter, I rose to the ranks and became a master in 2000. And thereafter, I sailed till 2006 as a master. So when you sail through all the ranks and different companies, you definitely gather a lot of experiences. So I'm writing a book also on this experiences called Beyond the Sea because of a simple fact that, you have sailed, my wife has also sailed on ship and she always writes on Facebook her experiences of her first voyage and all that. She still writes and, people still like it because, she writes in Marathi and there's absolutely great experiences. What exactly happens at sea is, every day is a new day and every day teaches something to you. So I was hardly 18 when I joined shipping, per se ship. I had not seen a ship in my life and I'm from a landlocked area of northern Maharashtra, which is slightly north than Nasik, where I'm placed today.
Okay.
So coming from that kind of a locality and straight going onto the ship, it was all a surprise and, kind of a thing for me in a new world. And that's time I decided that I will really strive to excel in this field because, it's just something that was really new for me. So coming back to the experiences, every day is a new day on ship. And I think at that young age, when I joined at 18, the entire character of mine has been ingrained by those incidences. So I have chosen 6 voyages in my entire career of 17 and a half years. And those 6 voyages, I had different experiences where all those 6 voyages taught me something. Not only taught me, they ingrained my character. I had no, I was a very impatient guy earlier. And I would I was very impulsive and things like that. But once I got stuck in a storm and the storm lasted for almost 2.5 days. So 2.5 days, there was no food cooked on board. There was no Absolutely. You know how the storm happens on ship and how the she rolls and pitches. We were doing minor speed and things like that. We were coming from America to going to Taiwan. We are going back to USA. So for 2.5 days, I had that, and that's time I really learned that patience is only the virtue in life. You got to be patient for the things to happen, and
Right.
and you got to keep watching them. Once you watch them, once you have the opportunity, they do the action. I was trying to turn the ship, and I still remember it was the 7th of December night, 2003. I was a master of the ship, and I was trying to turn the ship, and I must have been trying since evening 6 o'clock. Of course, I was on the bridge for 2.5 days, and I had not gone down to my cabin also. I didn't know when I went to my cabin, the cabin was absolutely in mess. It was everywhere, everything was fallen. But that evening, I was trying to turn the ship, and from 6 o'clock in the evening, I was trying to turn, and every time a wave would hit me, it will put me back into the course again. Big ship. It was not a small ship, it was a Panamax bulk carrier. Of course, we were shipping seas, and there were torrential rains and things like we were on the eyeball. So we had a huge swell of a tropical storm. So I kept on waiting and waiting, and I had no remorse to do anything because she was not responding to any helm and things like that. Finally, at night 1 o'clock, I could turn because there's slightly reduction in the wind speed and slightly the wave height had reduced. So I could turn around and turn the ship around. So that's time I learned, that fundamentals of every sixth ship is the sixth wave is the largest wave. So I had to really experience it myself. I read a number of books. I must have counted them sitting on the beach also. But when you are in such a situation, and every time you try to turn and one big wave will come and hit you and put you back to the course, and then you still wonder, why is it not happening? Why am I not able to turn the ship? I got a hydraulic power, I got a engine power, I got everything with me, but I'm not able to turn the vessel. So that's how I got out of the storm. And 8 December 2003 was Datta Jayanti. It was a auspicious day, and I had said if I see that day, then I would really keep fast. And all this faith. So that faith is another element, another character, which my character got ingrained by faith. Because unless you come to that kind of a situation, you would never ever believe it. I've learned my midnight sun stories. I must have read about it in school books. When our first voyage from Indonesia to Norway as a cadet, fresh cadet, 18-year-old, and my chief also was a very funny guy. I'm still in touch with him. So he told me, you will work from sunrise to sunset. I said, damn good. So I was in Indonesia anyway. It was summer. It was kind of a summer that time in Indonesia. So sunrise would happen at 6:30 in the morning, and I would go on deck. I would get a call. I would work whole day on the deck with carpenter or with both sarang or bosun, whatever it is, and knock off at 5:30 because 5:30 would be the sun would set, and I would come back.
Okay.
That was the only clock I knew, sunrise to sunset. And we were going to Norway, and as we crossed the equator, I didn't realize. It took me a lot of time to realize. And the same voyage, I also had another experience. So I kept on wondering. I said, why am I getting called every time early? Why am I getting called at 5:30? So I get a call at 4 o'clock. And one time I never came back from deck. So that was the story of my midnight sun. So I said, oh my God, we are in Norway. Okay, I knew we were going to Norway. You're in touch with the deck crew and people tell you. But it just comes to you as a name. The experience never builds up. On the same ship, same voyage, we had a problem with the fridge room. And the entire meat got spoiled and everything, we had to really, there was no food, basically, even dry provisions were kept in this thing, and, the shortage of dry provisions also. So we had almost 4 days where we had no food on board. And I'm telling you, when I was 18, 17 and 18, I was a wrestler also, so my diet was very good. When I had so much of tantrums and hope with my mother, okay, I want this, and I wouldn't eat rice. When I have not eaten rice in my life from the time I started eating, probably, third, fourth year, till the time I joined ship, I wouldn't eat rice. I was only chapati man. And we so easily polished 10 chapatis in the morning, 10 in the night, and being wrestler, your diet is damn good. So drink milk and eat chapati, and it was like a very santas diet. So when I went on ship, I started to eat rice. And those 3-4 days before we diverted the vessel to Las Palmas, we had absolutely no food on board. So there used to be one kind of a bowl of rice, which is like a crunchy kind of rice. And I mean, it really, I still have tears in my eyes when I recollect that incident, because from that day onwards till today, I have not left one grain of rice in my plate. I polished the plate, entire plate. So what I'm trying to say, these kind of voyages at sea, the experiences, they ingrain your culture. Like I'm also very finicky. When I became master, I was very finicky about cleanliness and safety. So when I used to come on, a very funny incident. So I used to take a round to galley. You must be knowing the galley. So I used to take a round to galley every day, and I wouldn't like any stale food being served on board, and because of the atmosphere is very closed, and cook is not able, to understand as to which food is spoiled and not spoiled, and somebody gets something goes wrong with them, then we have to manage at sea without doctor and everything else. So I was very finicky about the food cleanliness. So I would check every 8 days cook's nails, and his hair are trimmed, and he's wearing a cap and proper attire and wash clothes and all that. So and I used to always go and open the fridge and see anything left over of yesterday's food. Is he reusing the dal again, or reusing the atta which has been made yesterday? And I used to tell you, throw this out. You shouldn't use it again. You don't know how to check it up. I don't know myself even. So only those people who cook every day, they know. So you don't do this. So I had the habit of every time walking anywhere, I used to open the fridge. So when I came back on leave, so I know wife's friends used to call us home for dinner or lunch. I used to go to somebody's place. I see a fridge. I used to open the fridge and see. And my wife would tell me, "What are you doing? Why are you going to somebody's place and opening the fridge?" I said, "It is my back of my mind. What is there in the fridge?" Is there it becomes a kind of second nature, So there are very funny experiences. A lot of things I've learned. Of course, I joined at 18. So entire my personality was developed on the ship. You could say, with all multinational, multi-religion, multi-religious crew. So I really still, if somebody tells me a name, it never comes to my mind whether what caste he is or what kind of a region he is from. It never comes to my mind. Even now, even today, it doesn't come to my mind. So I don't understand the caste, and I don't understand the other parameters of the names and things like that, because you lived with the multinational crew and things like that. So you don't differentiate between that. So all this character building has happened on ship. So these experiences are really, so I I really wish, everyone gets a chance to mingle around like this. So they become I don't say I'm a wholesome person yet, but still I'm on my way to become a fully grown character.
That is so humble. That is so humble. Okay, so moving on, that was beautiful, all the stories, because like while you were talking, all the different stories started stirring up in my mind. So yeah,
exactly.
It's amazing that you're writing a book, and I think it'll be such a great read. So let us know when your book is out. Let's put it
by
up
end of this year.
Absolutely. Tell us, how many countries have you visited during all these different voyages?
So starting from 1989 to 2007, 6 almost, 6 and I must have done seven rounds to the earth, almost 7, and probably 92 countries. Because I had to. So these questions have been asked to me by my daughter, my son, every time as they grew up. They used to ask me, let's count the countries. So we used to go on a world map and, okay, I've been here. So daughter would write it down. That's why I know the number 92. And actually, those country feeling came to me only when I became master, because then I started getting time. When you're a cadet, when you're second mate, third mate, you don't get time. You only go out to do shopping and, or accompany someone for shopping and, and come back. When I became master, it was a funny incident. When I was offered, and I became a master at the age of 29. So when I was given a promotion of a master, you will be the master next, and I had just cleared my masters that time, my captain's exam that time, and I had not sailed after my captain's exam as chief officer. But they were waiting for me to become a captain soon. So I didn't know. I was very young that time also, and I was very, as I told you, I was very impulsive. And I was really, I still get that kind of feeling at times, So, I got a raging bull, I used to always go face the problem immediately, So,
Right.
and I was told to become a master, then I said, oh, it's a different ball game altogether. So, how would I become a
Right.
master, So I
Right.
started, writing it down as to what all qualities I would have, as a master.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
one of the resolutions I wrote in 2000, as
Right.
if I become after I become a master, I would definitely visit the country. I would visit agent's office. I will know the culture of the country properly. I will probably
Oh.
travel by the local transport. So I did all that for 6 years. Whenever I went to a country, and to my luck, we were on the Baltic run for almost 5 months. So we had done 30 ports in that entire region. So every port, I would make sure that I
Wow.
would go out and first of almost alternate voyages. My wife used to sail with me, alternate ships. So she, whenever she's there, of course, we used to go to the various schools and go also to the botanical gardens, and I mean, I've been to many schools abroad. I visited many schools. That's time I used to speak in the school as well. So I used to tell the agent,
Oh,
"Okay, I want
okay.
to go to the school and speak there. Can I speak to your
Okay.
children? I mean, any class, 7th standard, 8th standard, 9th standard." And he would be very happy. And he would go and tell the
Wow.
principal, "There somebody's come, the foreign master, Indian. He wants to come and speak to your children." So I used to go
Children.
and speak to them and ask them about, what is the history of your country, and can you show me your history book? Of course, it's in their local language. But then I would ask a student, "Can you read this paragraph and translate to me in English?" I mean, I
Oh.
came to know so many things. I used so many things that I heard from those boys in my so many
Right.
speeches these days. It's an amazing experience.
Beautiful.
I mean, it's an amazing thing
Okay.
to learn so
Absolutely.
many things.
Absolutely. Okay. So getting on to our next question, I just wanted to know, attracting young people to the career options as seafarers has been long debated, and especially during the COVID when so many seafarers were stuck on board and everything. What are your ideas about how viable is the merchant navy as a career option, and what is the future of the Indian seafarer?
See, this career has given me a lot. I mean, as I told you, I mean, I have extracted a lot. After I became master, I extracted a lot from this career. So anybody whom I advise, I remember once in 2005, I did one round of Maharashtra, 7 cities from Times of India and Lok Satta paper on a career guidance tour. When I used to talk to those people, I mean, those days, parents who wanted to put their children, I would tell them that your boy, if he wants to go to merchant navy, that time there were no girls as such. So your boy wants to go to merchant navy, he has to be a street smart guy. So you prepare him from 8, 9 standard. He doesn't have to be a studious guy. He doesn't need to have, meritorious guy as such, 90, 95, 98%. Today you might
Right,
require that because the technology is advancing. So
right,
those days it was not so much. So I would tell them he has to be a street smart guy. Send him to buy vegetables.
right,
Send him to manage things. Send him to go to talk to a carpenter. If something is happening in the house, ask you to manage and oversee the work. Because this kind of expertise, this kind of things would be required for the cadet to take up a merchant navy job. Today also the job is quite viable, but of course the career opportunities today. If I ask my son, my son came to me a lot of dry docks and things like that. After I became superintendent,
yeah,
I was a dry dock head of
yeah,
a company in Singapore. So every time I used to go for dry dock from Singapore, I used to take my son or my daughter or my wife with me, for a month to China or to Japan somewhere to
right.
stay with me.
Okay,
And my
okay.
son, when he saw the entire hard work, he said, "No, Papa, I would never come to the merchant navy." So that's a absolutely millennial kid. So today's millennial kids, they don't have inclination to do that kind of a hard work. They don't need to also because they are millennials. Number one, they are well-to-do off. They don't have a hunger, that fire in the belly. They may not have a fire in their belly to do something like this, but they have a different kind of fire in their belly, which we need to
Yes,
find out. My son has got a lot of fire about research and about law and legal system, Constitution of India and all that. So when I judged that when he was in 8, 9 standard, so we groomed him to be a lawyer. So he's doing his third year law now. So merchant navy may
wow.
not be an option for today's millennial kids, because there are many career options open. And plus the life is very uncertain these days. Because
Hmm,
a lot
hmm,
of hard working, because crew also are reducing in size on board. Like when I joined the ship as cadet, I was 55 crew on board, 1989. And slowly crew reduced. When I signed off as a master 2006, there were only 20 crew on board. So
Oh,
55 to 20, it's a,
right,
so everybody has to do almost double work. So when you have
right.
this kind of a thing, so today's children, I don't think they are positioned to do that kind of a hard work because there
Okay,
are many
okay,
career options. Pandemic also
okay,
has put in a lot of restraints on joining ship, so that anxiety buildup is too much in the millennials. Because you see, if you do I do a show on millennial mariners, and I've done a lot of studies on this, of the psyche of the millennial mariner. They are very anxious about things. They're not patient. And because they have been getting since their birth everything they wanted. They wanted to put the cartoon while eating a rice. The cartoon was put on the TV. So when you have that kind of a thing you are brought up in, so naturally that will happen to them, that they will not be able to have patience to work on board. Today, a lot of
okay.
issues we have of mental health on board vessel because people are not getting groomed to work in the atmosphere. So the
Right.
environment is tough. The work is a lot. A lot of technological advancement also on ship now. So a lot of technology requires to be handled by people. A lot of dependency is there on technology. A lot of dependency is there on people. So all those,
Right.
that has to be taught to them before they are put to the sea. So
Absolutely.
that is
Good.
a
Okay. So coming to your next child, you are the president of All India Maritime Pilot Association, IMPA. So what was the inspiration behind it? Why did you start this? And what is a day, in of a president in, like how does this go? And, tell us what are the paradigm shifts that were kind of required in this field?
Oh, for the pilots, it was a big paradigm shift I had to make because, and I could gauge it, it started on a very unfortunate note when Captain Gupta, when VP Gupta, one of the pilots, senior pilots in Mumbai, he fell from the ladder and died in Mumbai in July 2019. A very unfortunate
Okay.
incident, and it was quite shocking for the entire community. But that's time we came to know that there is no association of pilots and there is nobody to fight about pilot. So that was just a thought which came in the minds of few mariners, of like-minded people. We all sat together and said, "Ki, why don't we have one?" So
Right.
I went to Bombay. I was in Chennai those days. I used to work in Chennai. So I came to Bombay and met the Mumbai port chairman and discussed with him and asked him, "Ki, what can we do something like this?" He said, "Yeah,
Right.
there's something like that body is required in India." So he said, "Why do
Right.
you want to do it?" So I said, "Okay, I want to do something
Right.
different. As I said, I came from a
Right.
landlocked area into the ship. So I wanted to strive in every field that is there. I'm still
Right.
striving to touch the every field, every maritime sector that
Right.
is there." So this
Right.
was a new sector, and I said, "Yeah, I will definitely." I had some stint of pilot experience earlier, so I said, "I will definitely, try this." And I got some people around, spoke to some pilots, and we started this. When I started this, it was a Pandora box opening for me. There are so many issues I came to know, so many reforms that need to be done for a pilot. Despite being a very important person in the import export and in the port operation, the entire community
Right.
was very much neglected. A lot of people didn't know who the pilot is, who the maritime pilot is. So it all, then I had to literally not only do the paradigm shift, but I had to literally change the mindset of those very people who are on the ladder. Because the
Right.
ladders were a problem, and still we have about 50 to 60% of ladders. Ships coming into the Indian
Yes.
ports, they have bad ladders, and these ladders, a lot of people have fallen from the ladder, had accidents, they've broken their back, broken their hand, broken their leg. Every year, 2, 3 people die in the world, with this falling from ladders. So there's a lot of things had to be done from the scratch. To my luck, the pandemic also started in March 2020. So I had a lot of time in hand because I was working from home, and then I could really sit down for 2, 3 days and chart out the entire course of action. Spoke to some
Right.
seniors, engineers, deck officers, and really got this down into zeroed down to the last point. And then that's
Right.
why we did, we started AMPA channel. We started awareness about pilot ladder. We took classes. We took classes of ship's crew, ship's officers, masters, chief officers, and train them. We are recently having a competition on the pilot ladder innovation that is called Samyukta. The grand finale is tomorrow morning. And
Wow.
but then I realized, that the Indian pilotage, the entire pilot community is separately standing alone somewhere. They aren't connected to anybody in the world. So that was also another connection I found, and I met a lot of
Okay.
pilots. I spoke to them. I really got them on the LinkedIn and internet and made friends with them. So now I can say I'm connected to almost 1,000 pilots in the world, and they're all like kind of advise me what to do, and it's a good thing because you see you need to connect to people. That should be the main
Yeah.
aim in the organization, because you draw the strength from the connection, the resources. You don't have to
Absolutely.
reinvent the wheel every time. If
Yes.
the one life would not be even enough, if I reinvent the wheel every time. So Australian pilots, some of the Australian personalities also, they helped a lot in information of AMPA and taking it forward. There are a lot of
Right.
Indian pilots.
Right.
One lady pilot, Reshma, also, she's also a very dynamic person. She's also a part of this initially. And of course, they all are sound-minded people. So they all are there to do something different. So this was a big paradigm shift in my life. And of course, as the luck would have it, I would connect to people very fast, as I'm a people's man. I like to connect to people. I don't need to talk to. I like to talk to people, so I could connect with them, draw the ideas, and implement them. I also have a good team
Okay.
of execution, strategy people, so who can execute the job for me and for AMPAM. So it was a great start, and I hope that I can really, I'm in touch with ministry now on regular basis, on a weekly basis with the minister. So we are trying to bring in a lot of changes from recruitment to retirement of a pilot, and nobody had thought about it. It was just every
Right.
time a circular, a GR would come from a central government and implement it. There
Right.
was no debate, there
Right.
was no discussion. But today, at least, the
Right.
ministry calls us for discussion. We are part of
Mm.
their process. So it's all
Right.
it happens in that kind of thing.
Right.
So very interesting
Absolutely.
work, very stimulating work. I must say.
Absolutely. Because when you were talking about the ladder, I remember I think we were in Korea and it was winters and I had to go up the ship on a ladder and it was, my hands were freezing, they were numb. I had my gloves on, but I couldn't feel them. So I don't know how I climbed that rope ladder and I'm still here. So it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, really, really. I mean, this is really dynamic to climb up. Even my wife has climbed once, so I mean, I know exactly. I mean, today's the ladders are even bad. I mean, because they are supplied from ashore, so there are a lot of
Right,
dynamics involved there. But somebody has to work on them. A lot of people are working in the world
right,
also, but there was nobody working from India as such on these issues. So AMPA found that
right,
space, and we could change that thing. But it is
right,
very stimulating work, and I love that work because it is really thinking
right,
of changing the very system. It challenges the
right.
very system.
Absolutely. So, while you just said about, a lady pilot and everything, and you keep talking about the right move, there is some noise.
Yeah, I think there's somebody
Okay,
starting
somewhere.
scooter.
Okay. Oh, okay, okay, cool.
Okay.
So, okay, okay. So there was this thing where you have written a book, which you were talking about women empowerment, women leadership. So, would you like
Yes.
to talk about that?
Oh, yes, yes. I mean, as I said, when I saw women coming into the shipping, and I mean, I have a different definition of empowerment. Empowerment doesn't mean that I give a woman a chance to speak. It's not only the empowerment. First of all, they need to formulate their thoughts. I mean, it has to start from the home. Like I need to include my daughter in every decision. I need to respect
Right,
my mother, my mother-in-law, into the decision making. And that's how the empowerment starts. And that killing of dependency. Like I always, like when I
yeah,
say empowering women, I mean, there's no point, not making your wife independent at home and, talking about the Merchant Navy, cadet on board vessel, she should be independent. You make your wife independent first. Get her out
right,
of the dependency she has on you. So whether it is earning, whether it is having separate bank account, whether it is having a separate, that kind of So that starts from home, colony, city, your district, whatever time, whatever it is. So in merchant navy, of course, a lot of women, a lot of parents don't know about it. So we started a drive about a year back,
Okay.
talking to these
Okay.
women, talking to these girls, their parents, asking them, like, I'm connected to a lot of schools in Nasik, in Mumbai region also.
Mhm.
So
Right.
asking them, why don't they join merchant navy or even armed forces for that matter? Merchant navy doesn't have much glamour, other than the salary part of it or the foreign kind of a glamour
Right.
part of it. But even the armed forces, the parents would not send them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to do the little convincing to the parents, saying if
Yeah.
nothing happens to the
Yeah.
ship and everything is okay.
Yeah.
So, and,
Yes.
and again, those existing women, we need to have them as examples. That, okay, I was on ship. And so talking to those women, I've been
Right.
recently, there's some women organization, they have put me as an ambassador for their women empowerment because
Oh.
I did there some kind of speech talk for them
Okay.
on the basics of women empowerment, basics of education to women, and
Yes.
making them self-reliant. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Atmanirbhar Bharat thing is there. So we should start from home that making Atmanirbhar Stri or women at home, that's very important. Whether anything happens comes to me, the things should go on, and that's how it should be.
So sweet.
Then only it'll
So
it'll
sweet.
it'll be an empowered woman. We can call it.
Okay.
She should be able to stand on her
Absolutely.
own feet, take decisions, and that can
Right.
only happen when she takes decision when you are there. Every time she
Right.
falls back, like I don't let my wife fall back onto me for any decision. I said, I mean, now we're having Ganpati, things at home. So I told her, "Ki this time everything is yours. You decide, and you tell me what is to be done. I will do it.
Oh.
So you do it." So she orders decoration, and we, like myself and my son, we are only helping them. That's it. So this is how it's.
So sweet. Yes, small steps, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
coming back to IMPA, what are some of the efforts made by IMPA so far to to minimize the pilot safety hazards and avoid accidents? If you'd like to share some of the.
Sure, the pilot ladder was a very much low-hanging fruit at this point in time. So we understood
Right.
the root cause of this. The root cause of pilot ladder, basically, I mean, you have climbed the pilot ladder, you know how the pilot ladder is. So the root cause of that is the awareness, the training, the crew competence on board. So there was no
Mhm.
point complaining. We complained to DG Shipping, we wrote to the flag state authorities, we wrote to the,
Mhm.
other states, other countries also. We also wrote to wedding
Right.
inspections and all that. But then there
Right.
was there was something required to be done on our own. So we said, "Okay, let's take a positive
Yeah.
step now," and
Mhm.
we started training classes. So we offered the
Yeah.
maritime training institutes in India that can we do the training free of charge for you all. So
Okay.
and they were more than happy because the one of the pilots, the pilots had never been engaged in training others. So that was another paradigm shift for the pilots as well, and for the MTI. So they were listening to the pilots directly. The cadets, the
Mhm.
student, the masters, chief officer listening to pilots directly, learning from the pilot because pilot interaction only happens when the ship comes to the port, and that's only a
Absolutely.
professional interaction. Nothing beyond that happens between master and pilot. So this time they
Right.
got to hear from pilot directly, and then it was really a great experience. So we taught our 3,000 plus students in all the 15 MTIs in India. Thereafter, we
Mhm.
realized that there is some issue with the joining crew as well. So we
Mm.
also offered the services, free of charge services to shipping companies that we can train your crew on the pilot ladder issues, safety of pilot, how to rig the pilot ladder, how to keep it safe. There's a life hanging on the pilot ladder. If somebody falls
Mm.
overboard, the blood will be on your hands. So
Right.
creating that kind of awareness in them. So that was the one thing. We also then made flag states to issue a circular. We also have told our Indian government to, make a focus inspection on pilot ladder. So of course, it's
Okay.
an ongoing process. It cannot
Right.
be something cannot be done with, and then you move on to the next one. So we have continued that process of creating safety awareness. This
Mhm.
competition of pilot ladder innovation, because there's a rope and that wood ladder. So we asked the
Yeah.
young minds of the Maritime Training Institute, can we have alternative to this? Can we have
Right.
something different? So people have come out. We received 113 research papers That is 2,000
Wow.
pages of research from the Maritime Training Institute cadets on
Wow.
different ways that we can put the pilot on board. Somebody has suggested drone. Somebody has suggested a remote pilot day. Somebody has suggested a industrial solution of a fire brigade truck having that kind of a telescopic ladder. So there
Mm-hmm.
are there are young minds in India where they can think out of box. I cannot think probably
Wow.
because I have seen that ladder and I have climbed that ladder 2,000 times. So I think this is the best way. Yeah. I mean, my
Correct.
brain doesn't go beyond that. But that's what with the young guys. Young guys, they can really think, without prejudice, out of box, lateral
Right.
thinking, and they came out with such a beautiful solutions. So we had some international judges evaluating papers. That was very tough. I mean, out of 113, you choose top 10 papers. And those top 10 papers will be, evaluated tomorrow. And tomorrow morning, we have 11 o'clock, the final competition
Wow.
on Zoom and online competition. And a lot of international crowd will be that time there. But I mean,
Mhm.
it was a feat towards the safety of pilot. Something
Right.
comes out of this solution, it will be a, blessed to, maritime
Yeah.
fraternity and maritime world. So,
Beautiful. I've also gone up the ship on that crane thing in a
yeah,
basket.
cage.
You
Correct,
were
basket, yeah.
caged, yeah. So that was cool. That you would just go and sit there, and then you would just be hiked up. So
Yeah,
that was
true,
good.
but
That
those
was easy
those
to.
baskets, yeah, can only be used when the ship is static. When the ship is moving and the pilot boat also is moving, there's a slightly rough
Right.
weather, then though it will go like you go and bang the basket on the ship side and person
Right.
inside will die. So I mean those
Absolutely.
those of course those things are used in dry dock also for the transferring people.
Right.
So
Right. I
of
have
course,
hurt my ship. I was getting off the boat in onto the stairs, onto not the ladder, the stairs,
gangway,
and
yeah, yeah,
gangway, and my feet came in between the boat and the gangway platform, and then वहाँ से सीधा order आया कि take her to the doctor. That was in Singapore, and then I was rushed to the doctor. And the only thing that the captain of the ship said, he was, I think, Norwegian. He's like, I'm just so happy that you were not in a sari because I would have blamed everything on the sari. I'm just so happy that you were in pants. So yes, so thankfully
oh,
it was not so bad, and I was wearing closed shoes and everything because my husband Sanjeev was so
yes,
crazy about these
yeah,
safety things. Always
true,
closed
true,
shoes, always pants, always
yeah, full
emergency
sleeve,
clothing. There was
correct,
never
correct,
any feminine clothing, nothing.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So you were talking about IMPA, and you were talking about the young minds. You were talking about Samita, the paper that you're this, and you've been working with the young minds. What is it like? You've already told me, but what is it like with working with the young minds
See, actually,
or these young
this
colleagues?
today we have so many cadets, and they're really brilliant. I'm telling you, I've been
Okay,
associated with a lot of cadets now. We recently
right,
had a IMO model competition also where I was a guide to IMU
right,
Calcutta, and
okay,
I have closely interacted with them. Of course, I have two young kids at my home also. My son is in third year, my daughter is in 11th, so I keep interacting with them. So I realized that instead of giving them all the time gyan, we need to be with them, think like
mhm,
millennials, think like Y generation, G generation kids, and come out with to flare their minds. So I mean, they have
right,
an idea. Instead of outrightly rejecting the idea, oh, this is stupid here. I mean, this can't work this way. Instead of saying that, you could say, oh, very nice. I mean, how would you put this in practice? And
right,
I tell you, I mean, amazing results. I mean, it's a soft skill between the
right,
elderly person and this thing. And I've been, my father was a school teacher, so he's always worked with me like that. I mean, when I was kid. So we don't
okay,
realize it. We don't analyze that kind of behavior. And now we read the books and
mhm,
and this kind of thing. And this kind of soft skills we learn from the book, but we have seen it closely with our parents and things like that. So
mhm,
idea is basically, to work with them, to understand what their learning styles are. It is not possible. Like my son, he has got a habit of listening to music maybe out of 25 hours a day, out of 24. So his music is always on. So either he's
Right.
carrying a, one. So that is a trait, but I mean, you have to
Yeah.
accept it. There's no point shouting and screaming at him to stop your music, stop your music. So it will only put him on the negative side. So
Right.
working with them is very important, and they have a
Yeah.
fantastic, very sound ideas and mind. We must tap
Mm.
them. They are the future of our country. As as per demographic, this thing we know that India will be the youngest country in the world by 2050. So in that parameter, we are going to be ruled for next 25 years by all young people. Today, you see everybody in top position is 35, 40, 25, 35, 40, that kind of age range. So we got to learn to use their energy, channelize their energy very
Right.
much. So in that case only it will happen, in a very positive way. Otherwise,
Right.
I mean, if it is not channelized properly, we have seen the mental well-being issues on ship as well as ashore.
Yeah.
We have also seen suicides being committed. Then there were very fantastic video I saw yesterday of somebody that if you're standing on the edge of the cliff, then you require a finger only to be pushed. If you're standing 2 feet away, somebody may have to use two hands to push you. If you're standing 10 feet away from the cliff, then you might require two people to push you. So we need to keep these guys off the cliff all the time. That can only happen by having a constant dialogue with these youngsters, being with them, sitting with them, understanding their issues, their problem,
Beautiful.
their mindset. So they never come to that cliff at all, where
Wow.
the slightest push will push them off the, suicide thing or a mental instability or, kind of a depression. So it's our
True.
responsibility morally to get these guys off that cliff and keep them as far as away and not protect them, but make them again self-reliant, self-sufficient, making them take their own decisions. Like we have told, made a rule at home. They don't ask me when they go out, but they have to be responsible telling us, okay, I'm going out for so and so, so and so. I'll be back at such a time. That's fine. No, nobody will say yes. Nobody will say no. And that's it.
Right.
As you tell as if you're talking to the walls. So it's like. So there's no decision. There's no permission asking. So he remains responsible. So he knows he's
Right.
going out now. He has told somebody, and he has also told he'll come back in half an hour's time. So he's got to go back in half an hour. He's got to go back in 1 hour. You know,
Awesome.
so that kind of a relation we get to build. But the young kids
Beautiful.
are amazing. I tell you. I mean, they are really amazing to work with.
Right.
And given a chance, I'm ready to put rest of my life in shaping them and their careers.
Oh, amazing. That is amazing. So, following up on this question, I want to know how important is the role of the mentor, and how does in personal and professional life, and how does one actually find a mentor?
True. When we started our program through CMI about 8-10 months back about mentorship, and I was given 2 cadets, and this is how I do it every Sunday now. I've got about
Mhm.
8-9 cadets now. I mean, for different
Okay.
disciplines. They are joined from their friends and friends. Keh rahe, sir, acha story bolta hai. So I become a storyteller for them. But it's a very
Wow.
important thing, when I discuss with them that 1 hour of mine, it goes zoom like this because I tell them not only my sailing stories and I listen to their stories and what they are doing. So recently I decided to teach them, 7 habits of highly effective people, Stephen Covey's
Mhm.
book. I read that book pretty late in my life. So as I said,
Okay.
the shipping experiences have ingrained my character. They may not have those experiences in those their years. So what we do is, so I said, okay, let's discuss 7 habits of highly effective seafarers. So what are the
Right.
habits that seafarers must have? Whether you should have
Okay.
attitudinal habit, observation is one of the very good habits. And you need to observe people. You got to be meticulous in your work. You got to be diligent in your work. You got to be very
Mm.
hardworking, sincere, honest, brutally honest. You would call a spade, no matter what, and you would not forge documents. So these kind of, we wrote down some 7-8 habits for them. And I always, every
Mhm.
Sunday, we have one habit and we deliberate on it. And we tell them, why don't you tell me what your experiences
Mhm.
are? So people come out with a lot of experiences. It's like there's a very fantastic book. I don't know if you read that book, but that book is a very basic book. I taught that book about 5, 6 years back to my both children, and
Oh,
simply because it talks about your emotional bank balance and emotional bank account, and how do you pat yourself and doing good work. How do you not punish yourself, but how do you remind yourself when you fail into commitment, something like
right,
that. So like I will do exercise
right.
every day and I don't do one day. So how do I treat myself that day? So that's, do I feel guilty? That's also not good.
Beautiful.
Do I feel rejected looking at mirror? "Ki, I didn't do this as today. Am I that obsessed? So that is also not good. So how do you tackle this kind of emotional imbalances situation in life? So I think this kind of mentoring is required for the cadets. And as they are the Gen Z and millennial kids, they don't need to be looked after as such, but there is some soft skill need to be ingrained into them. They have
Yeah,
they have everything what they want in life from childhood. So there is a habit in them that they not would have to ask something, but they would get something before asking. you know so in life they need to first analyze things. Like I always tell, my father used to tell me always, if you want something, you ask yourself either you want it or you need it. If you need it, you must buy it. If you want it, you think how badly you want it. you know so that kind of I mean, it's sort of paradigm shift only
right,
in their
right.
thinking. And I think that once they're supported well with all these things, they'll be perfectly all right. I mean, so mentoring is
Amazing.
very important. It's not hand holding. I don't call mentoring hand holding, but it's like, I remember one of the best example of mentoring. Like we used to, I lived in a small colony of bungalows, in my hometown. So after a dinner, my father would take me for a walk around the colony. Like walking around the block, they call it. Nowadays they
Hmm.
call it that way. So we used to go for a Shata Pauli, like walk. And at that time my father would tell me, this tree is like this tree is this tree is this. You would I have learned so many things during those walks with my father. You know, so that can never happen. That no book can give me that kind of experience. So I'm trying to
Wow.
do that to these cadets remotely, telling them from my
Yeah.
experiences what to do, what not to do. There are cadets. There are two of my cadets on ship now, and from the ship they call me. So I asked them, "Have you called your parents?" He said, "No, no, sir. I'm calling you first." I said, "No, no, you call your parents first."
So
That kind of
sweet.
bond, they should find you very attached. Something goes wrong with them, whether it is like one of the cadets who called me the other day, "Sir, today captain scolded me." I told him, "Very good, he should scold you." "Why did he
Very
scold
good.
you?" He said, "I made a mistake." I said, "Good, so you learned about it, right? So don't feel bad about it." He said, "No, sir, I just want to tell you." I said, "Okay, you told me, let's forget about it now, don't dwell over it." He said, "No, sir, I just thought, okay, I'll tell you. Okay, I got today
Oh,
scolded." I said, "Okay, fine, very nice." This is what, opening up the mind is. A mentor has to do this kind of job.
right,
Like, you feel
right.
attached to someone. So mentoring
Very
is very, very
beautiful.
important. I mean,
Very important, absolutely. So now coming to your other passion, blue economy, you're such a big advocate about it. So can you shed some light on the blue economy and why did you get into this and how did you get into this and what's it all about?
see, I realized in 2015 when I believe Prime Minister Modi first spoke about blue economy in Seychelles summit.
Okay.
And till
Okay.
that time, we hadn't heard about this term in India, and there was
Mm-hmm.
no work happening. So at that time, I was in Singapore. And when I heard for the first time, I also got little, intrigued with this term as to what is this blue economy all about. And I mean, how can I contribute to this? Because, there's always a quest of living beyond the shipping, beyond ship management, beyond shipping services. In my mind, always that was there. So we call it living beyond solars. So, and that was really a good niche that I found in Knowledge Bank.
Right.
So I started reading
Right.
about it. Then one of the seminars first time I spoke about it, I really realized that people really don't know much about it. And today also even 95% of mariners don't know about it. So that's where the this thing started, and I said best way to create awareness is to write articles. So for 2018, I started writing articles on this. I'm writing a book on it, which is being published by ICWA, Indian Council of World Affairs, New Delhi. They're publishing this book because the one of the member secretary, he liked my writing and thinking of the fisheries and ocean energy and those things. Then
Okay.
as I kept on reading, I always read for almost 2 hours a day. I mean, my favorite bed time thing is to read for half an hour and go to sleep.
Okay.
So that I read a lot of the stuff. When I have to write something, I get up early in the morning and 4:35 and I start writing. So because at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, so there's no WhatsApp and there's no Instagram. There's nothing is happening around. So you don't get distracted. But
Yeah.
maritime economy is something which is very huge, which is and it lot of work is required in that. It's good that Indian government has started now because you see I mean
Okay.
the parameters are such that the top 10 cities in the world, if you see, by way of population, by way of their population density, their GDP,
Mm.
you know, are coastal cities. They are living on the
Mhm.
coast. And if you talk about maritime, everything is maritime. There's no country who doesn't have a maritime history. So I very
Mhm.
boldly say that all histories are maritime histories because everything has been explored by maritime route. So every
Absolutely.
history is a maritime history. So maritime is but we are not aware of it. I mean, we don't make when I do lectures in the schools, I ask them which is the suppose I told them if you're facing Delhi, from whatever where you're standing, which is the ocean, which is the sea on your left side, and children
Mm.
don't know. So I tell them, oh, I mean, we are a big country with 7,500 kilometers of, coastline. We have two big seas and one ocean,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
named after the country. There's no ocean in the world which is named after country. So we have such a
Yeah.
big, huge Indian Ocean with us. So why don't we know about it? Why don't we make friends with the ocean? Because
Yeah.
when we make friends, you have if you see the establishments, I'm also a little bit student of maritime history and maritime archaeology. So
Okay.
when I saw the establishments that happened around the water bodies, simply because water was a source of life, you know.
Right.
But then that culturally it came to respect the water first. Start liking your river. So we started calling
Yes.
her mother. Narmada
Yes.
Ma, they call it. Tapi Ma, they call
Yeah.
it.
Right.
So when you call, why? Because then you don't pollute it. Then definitely you will not pollute the river. You will respect the water body because water is a life. So all
Yeah.
establishments have happened around the rivers, around the ocean, around the sea. You see today, 15% of the protein supplement is coming from sea. So that is such a huge thing. If you talk
Mm.
about maritime economy today, maritime economy is about $2.6 trillion. That is as good as Indian economy. And
Mhm.
it's going to be $6 trillion by 2030. So
Mhm.
if you explore all the sectors, and there are many
Right.
sectors I mean, which you don't know. They say about 95% of the ocean is not known to us. It's like human brain. Like we say,
Right.
98% of human brain, we don't not we. Even scientists, neurosurgeons, neurologists don't even know. We only know the surface and some assumptions of function like your frontal lobe will do this and your this thing will do that and
Right.
this
Right.
right side is planning and left side is understanding and execution.
Right.
These are all assumptions we
Right.
make. We don't really know
Right.
what has happened. So it's better to know the ocean. People have to make friends with it. You have to use the ocean for going for swimming and I mean then get connected to that. So whenever people go to Mumbai, they tell me, I'm going to Mumbai today tomorrow. I also go to Zoo Beach. He said, why? I don't have to go to Zoo Beach. I said, go and have a look at the sea, yeah? And then come back. Never mind. So, there's some, liking will start. People will become slowly. And this is what is required in the country today that we have to develop a maritime character. More and more people think about maritime, the more and more, support the blue economy will get. Now, where the place I stay, there are in 10
Yes.
kilometers of radius, there are about 90 water bodies, 90. But nothing is
Wow.
being done on those water bodies. There are so many waterfalls around Nasik. There are so many ponds, so many lakes, so many dams, but not one fish is being grown there.
Oh.
This is the kind of a use of economy, maritime economy, or riverine economy, or a water economy we have. So unless we have to change this mindset, and we have to change it early, introduce this in the schools. India is doing good job now. They are already introducing. We have 149 institutions today which are working on the
Okay.
blue economy initiatives. We also drafted a blue economy policy, and it's going to be implemented. I'm there in one of the 5 6 groups of government of India on thinking on ocean energy and thinking about seabed mining, pharma, seaweed pharma. or proteins in pharma industry and, enhanced fishing industry and things like that. So
Right.
there's a lot of scope we have. And
Right.
I mean, it's a passion for me because it is something that, people are not touching. So I
Hmm.
find a lot of scope there to speak about it to mariners, non-mariners, even people who are aspiring mariners, that we only have one ocean in the world and we will take care of it. There are no two, three oceans. Different names are there,
Right.
but only one
Right.
ocean the entire world has.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so coming to you've already covered a couple of my questions. We were going to talk
Oh,
about
sorry.
the policy. So no,
Okay.
no, no, that's good, which is good,
It came in the
because we're
flow.
running. Yes, absolutely, because we're also running out of time.
Okay.
Instagram does thing if we're more than 1 hour, then I can't, upload and
Yeah.
download and all that. Anyway, so you also led the coastal shipping and integrated logistics solution at Sical with thriving logistics industry in the country. How can India integrate this into the corporate structure without at a higher level, and how can this contribute to the society without becoming too profit driven?
Yeah,
So if
true.
you'd
See,
like to put some time.
logistics in India is a big question mark. I mean, if you see today, our
Okay.
logistics cost in India is very high, and that directly
Uh-huh.
impacts your manufacturing cost of the good. We
Right.
always said that, it is easier to send the goods from Bombay to London than Bombay to Kerala. You know, so because of infrastructure, yeah, because infrastructure really, really is bad. Okay, we are improving upon it now. I mean, we are not a fairly young country. America is a country
Yeah.
of 250 years of democracy, and we are the country of only 70 years of democracy. And out of 70,
Right.
we can only have 50, 55 years, which can be counted on to the really, developmental years, because we had a lot of priorities of, removal of poverty and removal of, basic needs of food, shelter, to the people. So after
Absolutely.
all that it came out, our development started in 60, 65 only after the,
Yeah.
and plus, 200 to 50 years of, the British Raj, and also the invasions from everyone else has put India into the very, backward kind of, motion. So logistics is one of the because see, logistics connected to everything. I mean, whatever I get in my house is only for logistics. And
Right.
there's all my needs. They are like there's the urban and the rural sector. So all
Hmm.
urban needs put a lot of stress onto logistics. And
Hmm.
when we have a habit, like the change of mindset, like paradigm shift also is required here in people's mindset, that I need something. I don't need it
Right.
yesterday. So we have a habit of, because we have money in pocket, we think that, "Okay, I need a computer, I need it yesterday." It is not yesterday. It is something that you need it. You got to plan it. You got to plan it.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't put, the lot of stress on inventory and, logistics and things like that. So this is like integration of logistics. When we did a lot of integration of logistics, we used to has to handle coal movement. So a lot of integration is required there. So integration also brings in efficiency, brings in cost reduction. It also
Hmm.
impacts the overall cost of the good. India's logistics cost, I mean, manufacturing cost today is 12 to 18%. Some of the goods is goes to 20%. And whether it's in
Okay.
China, in US, it is only 8%. Because they have a
Hmm.
better infrastructure, better road, better trucks, better drivers,
Hmm.
better speed onto
Right.
the road. So we are still
Right.
developing on that sector. So
Right.
logistics has got a lot of, I mean, and again, the entire our trucking industry, if you look at it, it's been run by the drivers, and it's very fragmented. So drivers
Yeah.
are not educated. Though I mean, I've done this, exercise earlier, where there were graduate students, and we told them, "Okay, we'll give 25,000 rupees, and you have to be a driver on a truck." He wouldn't like to be a driver, but he would like
Hmm.
to be a clerk and take 8,000 rupees a month and sit on a desk and a chair, because we have somehow not put that in the social perspective, that we still think that driver is a driver's job. So we don't think that he's a lifesaver. I mean, today if I go on a tour somewhere and my driver is there, I respect him a lot because he's driving me. Boss, I mean, anybody who drives you has to be a great man, because I mean, he's taking care of your life. He has to be in sound minded. So I was asking, have you had food? So that kind of respect the society needs to be to drivers. But that can only
Yeah.
happen when you get married, start getting married to drivers, and give them a social status, something like that. Then only it will happen. Otherwise, logistic industry will keep falling back. Not be respected the profession. Today we don't have educated drivers in India.
Right.
So there are a lot of initiatives people take for safety, but still we don't have drivers, wearing uniform and driving. If you go to any other country, the driving is a very respectable job. Like, I've been in
Yes.
Europe many times. Even as superintendent, I've traveled from one place to other. Those drivers, let's see, Japanese car driver, taxi driver, he is fully, decorated, dressed properly with the hand gloves, everything. He respects his job. So our drivers are still, driving in lungi and, in shorts and things. So they don't care. They don't care about it.
Yeah.
I mean, so society doesn't care about them. So,
Right.
so
But at the same time, people from here would go to Canada and be a truck driver there and make a
yes,
lot of money. So yes, what you're saying is
exactly.
right. Like, yeah. So
Yeah,
that is so.
absolutely.
Okay, so coming to a few last questions, what were the seafarers' contribution to the global trade during the pandemic? If you would like to take this question.
Oh, absolutely, yes. We have a total global trade is of $19 trillion.
Okay.
And the entire $19 trillion is just $3 trillion short of American economy. So you can think about
Wow.
the amount of global trade that goes. So apart from 90% of the goods being, transported by sea and 70%
Mm-hmm.
by value. So the
Mm-hmm.
maximum transportation, if you see the sea, air, and any other means, the sea has got the maximum contribution. So pandemic
Right.
definitely disturbed because there has nothing. I mean, last 100 years we didn't have to seal the airspace, except for two wars that we had in
Right.
1914, 1940, 1940, 42. So other than that, we didn't have to seal anytime the airspaces. But here, even the
Right.
boundaries were sealed. So it was a very unprecedented event for this thing. But same time, you see the only route which was opened up for the
Hmm.
travel was the sea route. And seafarers have
Right.
done absolutely enormous contribution to this because, the ports were running, the pilots were operating the ships, and, I mean, the pilot is the person who boards the vessel first. He doesn't even know whether anybody has
Right.
got COVID-19 or we don't. I mean, we've been told by everyone to stay at home, don't meet anybody,
Yeah.
don't call even the housemaid at home, don't even
Yeah.
buy vegetables, work on a dry provisions. Like we have had two months only dry provisions. And that's time we started growing our vegetables on our terrace. So because we didn't know. So, but you see, pilots go on the ship without knowing whether the ship anybody COVID is there. Master has said, no, there is no COVID. Fine, but pilot goes there, he risks his life. Similarly, the cargo is brought into the ship is brought into the port, cargo is discharged, the stewards, the workers, everybody worked relentlessly for the essential goods. If container
Right.
traffic has really gone up, those days a lot of import, export was happening, and also
Yeah.
since traffic was not there on the port, the logistics efficiency also was there. So
Right.
basically, the entire structure, if you see, that had augmented the port infrastructure and port movement and things like that. So I
Wonderful.
think they have done a wonderful job in the pandemic. Of course, there are a lot of lives were lost also in the because of the
Yeah.
unawareness of people. I mean, if you see, uh, WhatsApp University at its best was creating a lot of confusion in people's mind as to what to do. They didn't know, So
Right.
basic, this has taught something which is very important to people about personal hygiene. And they say, there was a nice meme was there. If you can't go outside, go inside. So people started going inside. Inside, not meditation, but they started looking inside. Ki was outside muscle strength is there one thing, but I need to have inside immunity also. My liver needs to
Absolutely.
fight. My gallbladder
Absolutely.
needs to fight. My pancreas need to create insulin. And that can only happen if my intake is healthy. If I take care of my inner organs, my outer organs are the result of inner organs. So there's something, a paradigm shift has happened in this pandemic about the personal health, about
Wow.
personal outlook. I mean, earlier, I'm not saying people are not looking earlier, the wiser people were looking inside. But now, even the common man, even I see the Amazon person comes to my house, even at 9:30, 10 o'clock he comes, he will just wave me from my bungalow gate and says, Captain, I'm keeping it here. Bye bye, take care. So he doesn't want to, it's not like he doesn't want to meet me. He wants to meet me. But he has learned now, ki, boss, I can't. I mean, it's not distrust, it's not mistrust. It's just taking care. and he's
Right.
fully, covered. I always wear masks and things like that. Even the
Yes.
bhajiwala who comes at our place, he's also like that. He'll have one katori, one tokri for the, this mein le lo, aapke isme le lo. Yeah, don't touch this. I mean, he says
So
that.
true.
Earlier, he wouldn't have dared to say all this. So there's a big paradigm shift for personal hygiene and personal,
Absolutely.
inside look. So I mean, it's a really
Absolutely.
great, I mean, some of the things which have been brought, wouldn't have been taught by any instrument, I think.
Right, absolutely. Captain Gajanan, I have to, I'm so proud that, during our talk, I think you are the one guest that has used our name of the company, the paradigm shift, so many times and have used it so effectively that I am so thankful to you. This has been like a great, great talk. And you know what, Captain, you are, I think, the first gentleman from the marine industry to have spoken to us, because we've
Correct.
had H.K. Joshi ji, we've had Malini Shankar
Oh,
ji, and we've had Sonali Banerjee on our platform. So they were all women from Captain Vijay says he's a great friend and a mentor to me. Hi, Captain Vijay. Yes. We've had so many different beautiful comments about you, Captain Saab, but I have not been able to, I didn't want to cut you in the middle, and this, I hope you were reading too. And this was a great talk. So just before we have your last message, everybody that is joining us from Captain Gajanan's side, please follow the paradigm shift, because we bring you inspiring stories, beautiful, motivating stories of people that are doing things that they don't have to do. And they're doing this just because they want to make a difference in this society. So, and everybody that is joining us from the paradigm shift who will watch the video later, you
yes.
can
No.
please follow Captain Gajanan's Instagram. We will be tagging him in this interview in the video below, and he's doing some amazing work. And everybody that wants to know more about these different things that he is working, done. Captain Vijay is done. So he's doing some amazing jobs. All of you can go and DM him about these beautiful things. So before we end this live, Captain Saab, will you like to say something to all the viewers that will watch the video later?
Yes, yes, definitely. Thank you very much for calling me. First of all, as I said, you're doing amazing work, and my all commendations is for you, because I mean, I've really been a ardent fan of your show, and I really watched it many times, and I also have visited the Insta IGTV you share later on, because really insightful. I mean, today's session also was very good. I mean, I've done
Absolutely.
these interviews many times on many platforms earlier on Economy and AMPA, but to cover up the entire thing in one show, you need to have that kind of skill, and you have that.
Thank
I
you.
really wish you very best, and you're doing amazing work. Please keep calling the motivating people on your paradigm shift. I mean, your videos will do wonder for people who would like to watch them. I mean,
Right.
and whoever watches them will definitely take home a point or two always, and not, if not all.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and you're a very amazing personality, Deepashika. I must tell you, I must compliment you personally as well. On this show,
Thank
you're
you.
very, very pleasing personality, and
Thank
very,
you.
very smiling, and you make the guests very comfortable. And being a friend's wife, I have a lot of respect for you. So, as
Thank
I
you
said,
so much.
so thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Captain Saab. It was very, very good. Thank you. Good evening. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
yeah,
The third wave, it seems, is coming. So everybody mask up, wash your hands, stay safe. Bye. See
yeah.
you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.